Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today we're streaming with strangers. Our guest is Blakely Jones of CryptoInsider.com. How goes it, bro?
Hello, hello. Going well, my man. Going well. Glad to be here.
Dude,
Glad to be one of your strangers.
yeah, man, I appreciate it. I mean, after this, you're not a stranger anymore. We're gonna have to start a segment of streaming with friends, a follow-up to streaming with strangers.
Yeah. You can only stream with strangers for so long, right? They
Yeah,
become
it's a
something else.
one-time event. This is it right here. We can't do this again. There's no take two. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let me and the audience know a little bit about yourself. Maybe what you do, how you got into cryptocurrencies, and what that led you to do what you're doing now with CryptoInsider.com and what you're doing in the industry.
Perfect. I'd love to. Okay, so get this. I've got an interesting background, like most people in this space do. So originally, I went to school to be a medical laboratory scientist back forever ago at this point. I got my bachelor's in medical lab science and went across and worked in laboratories analyzing body fluids. Like a job that nobody really understands. They don't even know it exists, but most hospitals have some lab somewhere, either in the basement or hidden somewhere deep in the hospital, where people's like blood and urine and semen and poop and bits of tissue and stuff come out to be analyzed for
It
all kinds of
sounds
stuff. Anyway,
awesome,
I
though.
did that. Yeah. So I did a lot of that. I analyzed like probably gallons and gallons of spinal fluid, blood. I know
Whoa.
more about like red blood cells than most people ever want to even talk about, which is fine. I understand. From there, I didn't really want to do it anymore. I'm great at it. That was something that really I'm an expert at. But I just didn't enjoy it. I kind of did the same thing every day, and I never really built anything. And yeah, I might have made some kind of difference in somebody's life, but they wouldn't know it. They'd have no idea, and also anybody else for the warm body could probably do the job I was doing. It did not like I was coming in like Superman, it's saving people's lives. But anyway, I want to do something else, and so during that same time, I worked full time in a plasma processing facility, separating blood units um, into all kinds of different kinds of medicines for a company called CSL Behring. And I did that for a bit. And while I did that, I went to school for my master's in business. That was rough because I did that the regular work full time, and then also I did a accelerated MBA program through North Central or something like that. It's an online school. It's nothing prestigious, but it's worth checking out if you're likely to do it. Did that, got a specialization in entrepreneurial studies, which is a long word for just basically saying I spent a lot of money to learn how to spell the word entrepreneurial. and so, going from there, I tried my hand at marketing, did well, did a lot of cold calling, first business out the gate, me and my younger brother started Jones Tech Marketing, and we legitimately had no clients. I opened up a Yellow Pages phone book. I found one physical phone book, and just started calling people like, "Hey, I want to sell you this idea. I've got this thing. Hey, I saw your website. We could do these things for this amount of money. Let's make a deal." And within the first year, I closed $55,000 in new business just from cold calling
Hell
myself.
yeah, man!
Uh,
Congratulations, dude. Dude, Gary V would be hella proud.
Dude, yeah, that dude is a monster. I love him. I love him.
Dude,
So
that's
I
the
got in
side
there. I got
hustle that became the main hustle. That's the dream of everyone that follows him, man. Like for real, for real. Congrats.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, anybody can do it if you have enough time and enough dedication, and you're willing to be told "fuck you" enough.
That's true.
If you're willing to be told "fuck you" enough, that last time was the one that works. But what we did was we ended up parting ways. My brother went to more traditional business, and I went back to the lab. I got an offer to do to travel, like basically to be able to travel from one facility to the next across the southeastern United States. So I did that for a while, and I was like, man, I gotta get out of this. I need to do something else. I'm making okay money. I'm doing okay. I'm happy with it, but at the same time, this is not what I want to do. There's so much other things I want to do. So, what was it? I think it was last November, before the 2 Novembers ago, right before the big lead up to Bitcoin in 1998. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is something I've been wanting to get into since 2011. I wanted to buy it when I was in school. I was told I was a moron when it was $2, $3, and instead I spent all my money on vodka and cheeseburgers. um, and I was like, this is the time. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get into this space, and I'm going to do the best I can. And so while I was working in a facility south of Charlotte, North Carolina, living in a hotel. I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the lab, 12-hour shifts. So I was able to put pretty much a full work week hour load in 3 days. And then I got on with a guy. His name was Jean-Francois Ott. and he's in Montreal. And he was one of the 300 or so people that I reached out to. I was like, listen, I'll work for you. Just give me a chance. Like, I'll come in, I'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll work part of Friday. Just let me show you that I can do something. I don't have a lot of experience in this space, but I promise you, I can bring value. I'm sure of it. And he was one of the guys that was like, yeah, come on in. And I was like, I'll work for you for free. I will work for you for free to show you that I can work. And I did. And I started working for him. He gave me a little unpaid thing, writing some content for some ICO thing that he was wanting to do that we never actually launched, but we planned it. And
so it was like an internship kind of scenario.
Dude. It was like an internship just off the bat. I was like, I'm a stranger. You don't know me. I don't know you. Let me show you I can do something, and let me show you can trust me. And so I went from that to like a little paid nothing content writing job, and then in the same, but under the same guy, in the same company. And eventually I worked up to be a manager, and now I'm pretty much over I'm over 2 separate organizations that I plan and I run them. One is Crypto Insider, the one that we're talking about, the news media organization. That's the newest one. And before that is Crypto Taco. It's our marketing agency. So that's a lot.
I kind of checked that out. It's pretty cool. I like the concept. If you want, touch on that a little bit for the audience, because that's pretty unique. I like it. It's clever.
Yeah, Crypto Taco. It's a specifically we wanted a marketing group that was just for cryptocurrencies and technical like tech businesses. And the website's not great, but our clients' websites are significantly better. So if anybody's interested or looking for another group that maybe you need content written, or you need your social medias managed, or you need a website made, or you need some kind of program developed, we can pretty much do anything. We're a team of it's me and then 6 or 7 other people depending on the day of the week. And we've got everything from web designers to professional writers, and we can even use some of the Crypto Insider team of writers, which is like 20 some odd people.
Is there anybody that you could point to, a reference of a customer that you could say, hey, check out them, they've used us, then as a reference?
There is, but it would be one of those things that I'd have to check out. Basically make sure that the people that I tell aren't going to say, hey, these people they aren't making their own stuff. So it's like a sign an NDA. Yeah, hell yeah, I'll show you all the good stuff.
Gotcha. No, that's totally understandable from a business perspective for sure. You said you were working with like cells and stuff. I kind of want to segue into that because I was reading an article recently where they're starting to store data in DNA, and then some crazy white hat dude was just like, well, yeah, virus is data, and then found a way to put virus into DNA. So like, imagine you in your lab scanning the DNA for the results while it's running malware in the background because it's installing software from the DNA. I'm like mind blown from the concept of it, but I'm just like, is that even something that you ever thought of, like working in the lab and next thing you know all the lights turn off because you got a virus just from scanning DNA?
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, so yeah, dude, that is a completely plausible thing. The only issue is that you'd have to have a system that like can read it and read it into a program. Now, I did read an article and I saw some really cool stuff about how they were able to store information in DNA, like take DNA and store information, basically like rewrite some code and put it back into some DNA. That's awesome. That's some really cool stuff. The problem with DNA is it's moderately like volatile. It's not the most stable thing once it's out of the body, or once it's out of the cell.
Oxidation's a bitch.
Yeah, dude, even water. People forget about this. There's a like a gooey coating on all your DNA that keeps your DNA from falling apart in water. But without that coating, the DNA just completely disassociates and it just becomes its regular like amino acid pairs, like the nucleotides. The base pairs just fall apart. I've forgotten the name of it, but that's a thing. It's some goopy enzyme or something.
That's weird. So I guess I guess if we ever do figure out how to store anything in DNA, it would probably be an active living people, and not storage, right? Or
no, you'd be tagged. They tag you as property. That's what they do with it. Like for sure. Like they would tag the what are those called? I've forgotten the sex alleles where like the genes that are passed down. Not your personal ones, but the family tree. I bet you that they could tag it and then they'd say, well, part of your DNA is owned by a corporation, so they own you, and we're back into like pre-Civil War.
It starts with that 23andMe and stuff like that.
Dude, I just did it. I just sent away my DNA. I just gave it to him. I said, here, enjoy it. Enjoy my DNA, boys. Tell
200
me
years
what.
from now, you're going to be cloned into hundreds and sold into slavery in the workshops, and you're just going to you're going to hate yourself 200
Why
years
did I
from
do
now.
that?
That's like the
I just-
Black Mirror like thoughts that I have. Like, if I ever do 23andMe and they own my data, like my DNA and data, that package that I sent them, then if they ever do come up with the technology that can do something with it, they own it, they have the right to do that, then now there's me clones out there doing God knows what.
It could be doing anything. Bossing.
Uh,
Oh, like 50 of you. Yeah, no, that stuff's some weird stuff. You know, there's a lot of weird things happening out of China. I saw that one of the scientists just basically threw ethics to the wind, which, you know, I mean, I can give him an applause and also a heavy slap on the wrist for the same thing. He did CRISPR. He used CRISPR technology on some embryos and then brought the embryos through the full process of development. And I think that there were 2 little girls that lived through it, like 2 little babies that are now 1 or 2.
but they're like
Yeah.
straight up lab people.
Yeah, they took regular baby DNA and then edited it. And what's really screwed up is this guy, he could have shot for the moon on it, considering that they really didn't know what was going to happen. They ended up editing the babies to be more HIV resistant than most people. And that's that was what he did. That was the experiment. And there's no way to even prove that. Like, what do you show that you take HIV and give it to the babies? Like, what? That's even worse.
That
Like,
is such a cheap shot at trying to manipulate DNA with CRISPR. Like, why wouldn't you, like you said, change,
Yeah,
I
like-
don't know, eye color on purpose, make them have
Just-
red eyes or something? Who has that? So you can
Exactly.
prove that it worked.
Yeah, you can't even prove
Well,
it
you know
aside
what
from
though?
just,
There's
like,
probably a lot of limitations on that though, from like UN and up, and where you're not
Oh, yeah,
allowed.
it's
So maybe that was like
incredibly-
the highest level of DNA that he was allowed to change, because if
Oh,
he
yeah, no.
tried any superhuman, more taller, stronger type stuff, I mean, that's weaponizing technology that would probably get him
Dude.
black bagged real quick.
No, I agree completely, and I think the entire scientific community has blacklisted this dude, including the Chinese government. Like, just doing that was enough to completely ruin his career, and also like probably the entire area, whatever facility he was using, that their background too. I mean, that's a huge ethical
Well,
violation.
there's a lot of people in the crypto space that like fantasize about their blood, or somehow they're storing their private keys in their DNA, and I don't think you understand how this stuff works. Like, if I take your hair off your hoodie and then scan it, I have your private key. Do you understand how DNA works? It's not that private.
Yeah.
It's really not.
No.
You spit
You
all
leave
the
it
time.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You open a door and your epithelial cells have come off.
I see no
like those
concept in.
squamous or easy.
Yeah, I see no concept in which any kind of currency or anything will be stored in our DNA for any kind of use like that at all. If anything, maybe like medical records and stuff like that, if we, opt in, we could have our medical records stored in our DNA. So if, we're living in an unconscious, they can just straight up scan the DNA for the medical records instead of fighting for 300 different people to give it to them. Because if you're in a coma, good luck getting your medical records to the doctor that's trying to save your life overnight.
They're not gonna give him. They're not gonna find him. Yeah, no. But
You don't
the whole
even
thing
own
with
it.
storing. No, again, I gotta ask you, how much do you know about the immune system aside from that it exists and that it's a thing?
That mine sucks, because I've been getting sick a lot, man. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know much about it. I'm totally open to the enlightenment though.
Oh, okay. Here's what's interesting. It amazes me every day that I wake up and I'm not just like a puddle of goo, like melted cells in a bed. Like, I don't understand how, really, because your immune system, there are 2 major trees, 2 major groups. One's the humoral and one is called the innate. And the innate and humoral, they both work all the time. And I'm going to try to keep this from being as boring as I can. The humoral is like everything in the fluid. Like 60-70% of your blood is really just water. It's called plasma, and like there's a bunch of proteins and shit in there, and platelets and whatever else. But in that liquid, there are antibodies, and those antibodies and cytokines are what can tag things to say this isn't you, or this needs to be destroyed, or whatever. And I'm not going to get into complement theory or any of that other crap, but that's it. So you got one side that's humoral, but in the fluid, antibodies. And then you have innate, and those are like natural killer cells, like lymphocytes, B and T lymphocytes, and they're actual cells that go around and they destroy things, and like plasma cells that produce antibodies. There's probably 70 different types and subtypes of immune cells, of the cells in your body that all they do is fight infection and keep you from being attacked or being controlled.
Okay.
So all that stuff being said, you're born with all the DNA and all the things that you're ever going to react to is already in your body. You have cells that are either kept and make other immune cells, or you have cells that, for whatever reason, out of random occurrence, react to you. Ideally, those cells get destroyed. Those cells either destroy themselves, or another cell comes over and says, "Hey, you can't react to this. This is us," and basically undergoes catalytic process where the cell basically ruptures, and so that cell will never produce again. But then you end up with people that have autoimmune diseases. That's a failure of that process. So if you have a failure of whatever one of those series of 4 or 5 different steps, then that cell continues to progenerate, continues to create new ones, and it ends up like destroying part of your pancreas, like in autoimmune diabetes. So I mean that can be applied to everything. It's crazy how much stuff your immune system's involved in that people don't talk about. Like it kills me when I'm on Twitter, especially, and I see someone talking about the immune system, and they're like, "You need to do this to strengthen your immune system." And I'm like, you have no fucking idea how complicated this shit is.
So basically,
or whatever.
Well, not like takeaway, but I mean, sort of what what you were saying made me think of was if we were to store any data in our DNA, then the immune system would attack it, delete it,
everything would be fucked up. Yes, absolutely. That's the takeaway. That's exactly where I was trying to go with this. If you change the DNA, your body will just fuck up, and you might luck out and find an area of the DNA that isn't looked at, or that isn't it doesn't create proteins, or maybe it's skipped, and maybe you luck out and there's not some kind of antibody that attaches to that DNA and causes you some really fucked up antibodies starting to get produced against your own DNA of non-self. Things get fucked.
So we would just make Cronenberg people if we tried doing things. Yeah, just be
Cronenbergs, man.
That's awesome.
Oh, I don't know, Ken. This is a little out of hand.
Yeah, we should have stuck with our ledgers and Monarch wallets, Morty.
Why do we store our private keys in here? This is a terrible idea.
They said if we encrypted it would be safe.
Oh my god. Yeah, but no, that's a terrible idea. I wouldn't, and I'm pretty open with things. Like I'd be cool with like maybe an under the skin chip if you wanted to do that on your own.
NFC?
Like you do it yourself.
Oh, I'm so into that, man. Brock Pierce is supposed to be taking me to get that done sometime. I was actually plug Coins Bank blockchain cruise. I'm going on the cruise again. They have invited me out, so I'll be in the Mediterranean on a cruise ship for 5 days with people like John McAfee, Brock Pierce, Roger Ver, and all those guys. So I highly recommend you guys come out. I might have a referral link that gets you 10% off. I opted out of making 10% commission to give everybody 10% off their admission. So I don't make anything from the ticket sales. If you use my link, you're actually going to save 10%. I have to find that link from Coinsbank.
How much is it? Where do you leave? What are the dates?
Dude, I am so scatterbrained right now. I honestly don't know.
Just make them up. Like tomorrow.
You know what? Yeah, I could. $420 on April 20th. I'm gonna look it up on Twitter right now, but like I was saying, I was talking to Brock Pierce about the NFCs and stuff like that, and I don't know, like I'm super into it, but then he was talking about the RFID readers that people are seeing for credit card scams. Wait till there's fucking doorknobs that have RFID chip readers in the doorknob, so when you touch it, it scans your fucking little NFC chip and clones it, so now somebody can tap and open your front door while you're God knows where. So I'm like, damn it, you tinfoil hat motherfucker.
Hey, it's a good point though. Hey, what's going on with Brock Pierce? I've heard a lot of
Mt. Gox 100% outright, and he's working on a way to get the money back to the people that have been taken advantage of during.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
I was thinking,
it says right here June 9th and through the 13th.
All right, June 9th to the 13th.
Yeah, I'll send you out the link to get you the 10% off after the podcast.
See if I might be able to make it out. I've been really wanting to do that. And honestly, I'd like to meet John McAfee because he's a crazy person, and I like that.
He's one of the most real, down-to-earth people that you'd ever meet. Like, you have an impression of him on the internet everyone does until you meet somebody in real life. And I've hung out with him, I think, at least 3 or 4 times in 2018, and the cruise was the longest. It was a 5-day like hostage situation where he just couldn't get away from me. Really, we're on a boat, so
Can't leave.
I don't know, but he was just like real as hell. You know what I mean? Just would talk, would give you the time of day, and just would shoot the shit about whatever. Never shilled a damn thing. Just wanted to give you the best advice he could if it was there. Unsolicited, wouldn't. And I don't know, it was just really cool dude. Like just to, get drunk with and talk about, the renaissance of crypto. So dude, if you're interested in hanging out, man, that's definitely the way to go about it. Blockchain cruise, I think they do a hashtag blockchain cruise, and it's coinsbank.com. I don't know exactly what Coinsbank does, but they throw the best fucking conferences I've ever been to.
Well, that is awesome. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Also, I might be able to. I'll see if they need any media coverage or not. They probably
dude,
don't, but
no,
it's always good to ask.
I'm sure they do, man. That's like everything in this space right now, dude. There's so much opportunity to contribute because they're so early. Like it's crazy. Like anything you can do in this space right now, you can contribute rather than just show a coin. You can work with a company and do web development or media or whatever, dude. So guys, if you're listening, go contribute to your favorite projects. Hop up in their Discords, their Telegram, see what you can do. And I wanted to touch a little bit on actually what you do, man. You do the Crypto Insider and some stuff like that. And I'm just wondering what are some of the stories since the new year that have really caught your attention?
Oh man, some of the more interesting stories. Let's see. A lot of people want to talk about like technical aspects and everything, and that's great. I'm just not a technical enough guy. Like I understand biology, I understand business. When we go into like code and which blockchain is the best, and we want to talk about all these like different algorithms and how they might differ, the only thing I can do is just take someone else's word for how they work. But I can't. I can't understand it. I can describe what a blockchain is. I can describe what more or less how the Bitcoin blockchain works. But at the end of the day, I really still don't know. So my favorite stories are things like John McAfee getting away from the IRS. Like
somebody just brought that up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, perfect timing, man. Please touch on it.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so John McAfee, I think the whole thing. I don't know how much. I haven't been able to get him to actually come out and have a conversation with us because I've been trying to do that since he talked about it weeks ago. But he lives here in Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, and he lives like maybe a handful of hours away. I think in Hendersonville or I can't remember. At any rate, he gets in his car with a wig and big sunglasses and sneaks his way out. Gets on the boat and just out of there. And I think it's wild that he's trying to run for president while also trying to evade the IRS. And it's not that he's even hiding it. He's literally like, I've told the IRS. Yeah, he's like, I told him every year, I filed him, I said, I'm not paying you anything, and that's just what it is. And, and I don't disagree. I really feel like, politically,
Trump is the president right now and has had more tax evasion and tax fraud and bankruptcies and left people without their pay after service is rendered than anybody in the history, and he's still the president. John has every right to run. Every right. Now, yeah. I mean, if he wins, it's up to everybody to vote, whatever. He's saying, don't vote McAfee, hashtag don't vote McAfee. But, I mean, he has the right to run and the right to say, fuck the IRS. Fuck, they have no right to stop anybody from, their freedom of speech. Have you seen
the political state of the United States? Have you seen it? Like, have you wandered into the political Twitter verse? Because I've been there this week, and it hurts. It hurts. There's no good opinion. Everyone sucks.
I feel like we progressed a good 10 years politically in conversation. I just feel like every time I wander into a political conversation, I took a fucking time machine 10 years back. Like everything that we have done to progress as a fucking society has been swept out from under our feet like a rug in a magic show. And then everything fell over because it wasn't done right. But, hopefully this is the implosion we need, unfortunately, catastrophic events bring us together better than positive events ever will.
Oh, absolutely.
And
look at 9/11.
Yeah, exactly. And this state of our country right now, and look what's happening with other countries from Venezuela to France and Wells Fargo, even in first world countries, limiting your withdrawal to $100 or $1,000 if you have over $100,000 in your account. Like, what? First world. and this is happening, and people are just, starting to feel it, because who cares about when they come for your neighbor's rights or your friend's rights?
No,
It's only when
those
they
are their
come
right.
for yours that you start to give a
Yeah.
shit. And it's starting to happen to the people that didn't give a shit about their neighbors or their friends, which is Venezuela and France. It's starting to happen
Hmm.
to them, and that's what's going to bring the world together. It's going to take a world catastrophic event, instead of a positive, unfortunate, and it's happening. And luckily, everybody has seen that this technology is the perfect hedge against tyranny of governments like Venezuela, and it's being used. It's being adopted, and it may not be ready for mainstream adoption, but the use of it is incentivizing the increase in the technology itself, right? Like Ethereum crashed because of CryptoKitties, but it wouldn't have gotten better until CryptoKitties incentivized the developers to get back to work and make it better. So the more people that opt in, the better this shit's gonna get, man.
You're right. I was thinking about this. I actually had a conversation with Albie today for like 3 hours about Bitcoin and its transaction cap. Like when we had the big run in December, November, December, January, when it went up to 19.8 and started crashing. We He made a really good point. Like people weren't moving $10, $20. They weren't doing small purchases. They were just moving more or less an entire portfolio worth all the time. And so when we had that huge congestion, I mean, I remember paying 50 something dollars to move not that much money, and it took 2 or 3 days to make that happen, and it was really bad. And what he brought up was that Lightning Network is really cool, and I think it's neat. I think it's a neat thing to kind of like offload some of that the main network congestion. But the majority of the transactions are not going to be for cups of coffee, or for like $20 here or $10 there. It's going to be for like $300, $400, $500, $2,000, $5,000. We just had too many transactions. So people are talking about how that hasn't really been looked at, and I'm not about to say XRP the standard, because I'm not. But I'd like to see a solution like native Bitcoin. I'd like to see if they can figure out some way to make
Hmm.
it so it's usable, even though I know it's supposed to be a store of value. But at the same time,
You don't
I'd
see
like to see
lightning
that.
as that. You don't see lightning as that solution. I mean,
It's
I
neat.
think sidechain is the way to build on top of a foundational technology, instead of evolving the foundation to something that you want it to build on top of. You don't change, the ground to be the building you want. You just build on top of the ground. That's the side chains of things, and I think to alleviate the pressure of Bitcoin's blockchain, that I see lightning, and there's so many different ways to use it. I mean, we have opt-in, we have cheapest transaction, and then we have what's it? It's optional, cheapest, and I forget the other one. Crap. But you can choose to use which Lightning channel you want. So, I mean, if you wanted to create your own bank with your own friends and followers, you could store your Bitcoin in that Lightning channel, and they could use it to transact in between, and you would get some of the fees instead of, somebody else, which is what I think is really empowering to the fact of being your own bank. When, like, you be your own bank, it doesn't mean just having access to your money at all times whenever you want. It's what do banks do with money? They help move money left and right. They lend money out and make interest on that money. And that's what you should be able to do with your Bitcoin as well. And Lightning channels are going to make Bitcoin and being your own bank more possible because of these avenues. And they're not mandatory. They're optional. They're side chains. So like I think that's a really misunderstood avenue for Bitcoin when it comes to Lightning. And then you have to consider atomic swaps as well. We're going to have atomic
Atomic
swap
swaps,
Lightning
yeah.
channels, and then these exchanges will just decease like Blockbuster did. There's no use case for Blockbuster anymore because they didn't innovate, and there's no way to innovate into a world where torrents are going to be the main way we communicate.
Yeah, I mean you're absolutely right there. The only thing that I'm worried about is like I like Lightning Network. I'm not bashing the Lightning Network. I think it's a really cool thing. But what we saw in that run up was that the majority of transactions weren't small. They were larger transactions.
Oh
The
yeah.
problem with the Lightning Network is that if I remember right, and I could be way off base, but isn't it the case like if I wanted to send $100 to somebody, every node that it passes through has to have at least 100 staked in it?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if I wanted to send 20 grand or have $10,000 or $20,000 or $5,000, something larger, like I'm trying to move my portfolio around and I want to use the cheaper Lightning Network, I might not be able to do that. And so I'm still left with that same problem of the congestion of the main network because of the large transaction volume in
But
Bitcoin. Now,
that's
what
the use case that will incentivize the solution to its own problem. If there's a use,
you
if there are people
before.
sending and there isn't that use there, somebody's going to say, well, hey, instead of leaving my Bitcoin on an exchange and lending it, I could just create a giant lightning channel and have access to my private keys and help people do these transactions and get fees that way. So like it incentivizes people to use their Bitcoin in different ways when they have these huge whales out there. Like, you know, Tim Draper isn't poor in Bitcoin. He's holding. He said he's holding. So why not hold it in a lightning channel and contribute to those transactions off chain that we need?
No, you're making a lot of good points, and that makes sense. I think that's great. A great free market kind of analysis on it, and if it's something that's wanted, then it'll happen. I like that, because that was a good point. Albie brought up that good point, and I was like, you're right. That does sound screwed up, but then you rebutted it perfectly. So, yeah, let's run with the Lightning Network and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting tool to decentralize banks or incentivize even banks to get in. I think one of the first moves we're going to see is, how Goldman Sachs acquired Poloniex, right? That was a huge, hundreds of millions of dollar purchase. I could see them opening a ginormous Lightning channel where these giant exchanges are going to be able to move crypto in and out on their channel because, like you said, if you have to move $100 million worth of crypto, you need at least $100 million worth of crypto in the channel. Well, what is that other than a fucking bank? So this is going to be their incentive to actually start holding Bitcoin, pegging now their holdings to Bitcoin as a bank to stabilize the volatility of the interest and loans and everything else on the banking side. And now they have this other avenue of interest that never existed before while they were holding money anyway. It's just they don't understand the incentive to doing it yet. The risk management is really scary. I mean, for a third-party custodial, it's still a human being at the end of the day that's going to be at a computer somewhere that has access to the encryption of your private keys because there is human behind custodial services. So it's scary right now, man. I can't imagine what a bank is talking about in their back office when they're like, we would put $300 million into Bitcoin and then multi-sig it, and then wait, parity wallet, multi-sig hack. Wait, no, never mind. It starts to scare them.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, this is a weird play. It's a weird space anyway. Doing a payroll in Bitcoin is probably one of the top 10 most pain in the ass things to do right now, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that hard. But every month I set up full payroll for everybody that gets paid in Bitcoin. And I'm going to tell you, it's a huge undertaking. Like,
what do you use? What process?
We literally just have like invoice us. We take the amount of money in USD and convert it into Bitcoin, and then we send that Bitcoin to them. Problem: you have 20 people that want to be paid in Bitcoin, and you have to go out and buy the Bitcoin, and then you have to pay them in USD equivalent of the Bitcoin you just bought. It becomes a huge mess because you say you buy on the 8th and you make sure your transactions are done by the 10th. In that amount of time, it's fluctuated. So one problem is that the person that gets the money is either excited or they're upset.
Right.
That's one problem. The next problem is how do you account for that? So you bought a thing, you held it for some amount of time, like less than a day or 2 days, and now you gave that to someone else on a valuation of an invoice that was given that day before, but you had to transact it to those people. So now you have like a weird accounting graph where it's like the amount of Bitcoin you bought maybe is here. The amount of Bitcoin you sold or gave away is still the same number, but in value it's higher or lower.
Right.
And so they got paid on an invoice that says a different number of value that they got paid at that time.
I have an argument for this.
Dude, yeah, go ahead.
What if I get my paycheck on Friday and it was sent out on the day before? It takes 3 days to clear. Then my money clears in the bank. I got my fiat, but the price at the gas station has gone up or down. The value of my US dollar has changed overnight. Why isn't my employer, is responsible for the volatility of that? The value of my US dollar. It's just as volatile, but it's not projected on the asset itself. It's projected in another pegged currency. That's why it's more on the foreground of people's conscious. But if you look at the US dollar and the price of commodities and your interest from your bank, I mean, it is worse. If you hold Bitcoin long term, as opposed to holding fiat long term, even in a bank account. 0.01% interest isn't fighting inflation.
That's
So
not doing anything.
I would just tell people that now that they have this perspective on money and what money is and how it is volatile and how it can get you more or less one day or another, apply that same perspective to the US dollar and price tags, and start to value your dollar in gas or milk, and start to see how volatile your US dollar is in commodities like that. And it'll wake people up to that a lot. And I think that if you highlight that, if I would have paid you in your paycheck in Wells Fargo in USD, you would only be able to get $100 out of your account right now. So, I mean, like, what is it really worth to you to have access to your money at all times? Risk reward volatility or centralization and censorship. Like, some people, it is priceless to have the ability to be paid anywhere I work in the world, because I'm not censored by banks that, you know, can just take my skills out from under me, and now I'm jobless because I can't work I'm in India. There's nobody here that does what I need to do. I need to do jobs in US, but I can't get a bank account. This is super powerful. So what I would say is first world problems. If you're getting paid in Bitcoin and you're upset about it, you know, you're privileged. You're really privileged to be a beta tester in this industry right now, and that's your biggest woe is, oh, I can't get, my fiat value went up and down. Really? Because some people don't even have the ability to earn that income that you just made. So I just
dude, those people, those people's opinions, I don't even really, honest to God, I don't really care. That's just everybody, you know, complains. Some days you get paid more, some days you get paid less. The problem is when it comes into tax and accounting for us, like as a business, that's where things get weird, because you sent them more money than their invoice was for, technically, because you had some volatility. And it's usually, there was one time we sent invoices and we paid people, I think it was like 15% more across everyone. And we spend between $8,000 and $12,000 in people's money, like pay a month. Like we are really just burning it through it. And so when you have that little bit of fluctuation, you know, to $100 is not that much, but you apply that every month to, you know, your accounting, and suddenly your books don't make any sense. Like you've paid out more money than you had somehow.
Right.
And now you have,
so what about buying the Bitcoin in advance, right? Storing that Bitcoin 1 month prior to what you would pay your employees, and then you'd be able to send out the transaction in a batch transaction. One transaction fee sends out to multiple addresses at the same time. You'd save on the fees there. And then you could, you know, either try to bet with the market when you repurchase the Bitcoin that you previously purchased to pay your employees. Maybe you could buy that Bitcoin back at a lower value, making the business more money to pay the employees with later. Or even if it were to go up, that's a write-off, if I'm not mistaken. That's a supply. That's an asset that the business has bought. So, I mean, there's more incentives than people and businesses kind of use, but that's the disincentivization of self-regulation with, you know, in mind of what's going to happen in the future, right? Like, we don't have a clear cut line of Bitcoin taxes and crypto this, and we don't even know if it's one state, I think, just said it's a money now. I think Wyoming just said Bitcoin's money.
Wyoming?
It's money.
It's a money. Yeah, it's fine. It's money. Yeah, okay.
49 more to go, and we'll have some consensus here.
Is that why the whole meme, like, Wyoming isn't real or
something?
I've seen that. I didn't understand it. That makes sense.
Dude, it's hilarious. I love it. I love crypto Twitter in that sense, where it's just like, you know,
I love it too.
It's great. I also feel like this year may have made some, you know, what are they, shit posters more incentivized to shit post less and educate more. I mean, you have like 100,000 followers and you post memes of like Roger Ver jerking off Craig Wright. Like, what about talking about something more educational and positive? But, you know, it is what it is.
Dude, that's the same thing I said. Yeah, I mean, I tweeted that very same thing that you're talking about not even like 24 hours ago. I was like, I'm sick of reading superficial, very basic things that most of the things that are typed aren't even meant. Like, they just say things to try and make either themselves feel better or or try to like virtue signal. Whatever it is, it bothers me. Like, I'd rather somebody be really just mean and grotesque and mean it than to say a bunch of stuff they don't mean.
Absolutely. Hey, Bitcoin Ben, shout out to Bitcoin Ben. How goes it, bro? Thanks for tuning in. He's doing the world record, the Guinness World Record of Bitcoin meetups. So it's a Bitcoin meetup, and it's going to be in the Guinness World Book of Records. So That's gonna
Oh,
be
that's cool.
huge, and that's one of those like mainstream events that doesn't take much, like, making everybody download a wallet kind of thing. Like, you're in the Guinness World Book of Records. How much more mainstream could Bitcoin be? That's how we start doing it. It's not getting Walmart to accept it. It's just getting the recognition, the attention that it deserves, and then educating the people. Right? We have to start with mass awareness. Then we can get mass adoption. So
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely true.
back to some of those stories, man. Like, it's been a crazy year so far. I think that the Quadriga exchange
Yeah,
scenario is
yeah.
one of the more
The owner
popular at
died
the moment.
supposedly.
Supposedly, I actually took a look at that death certificate. His name is in fact spelt wrong, and then some people have posted some really interesting, fact checkable dark web links to be able to purchase these death
Oh yeah, you can
certificates
definitely buy them.
rather
You can definitely
inexpensively.
100% buy them.
So I mean, it is a crazy story where it's a owner of a company that's in Canada, and he got married. He changed his will the next day, and 2 weeks later died allegedly in another country, with Crohn's disease. It's just a lot of people. I just read that a software engineer, Romano posted this, guys. A software
Romano.
engineer just lost $450,000 worth of Bitcoin that he has stored on Quadriga. Why? Why was a software engineer who is intellectually inclined enough to make $450,000 in this industry not leading by example by possessing his own private keys? I don't want to say like that's what he deserves or whatever, but I mean Darwinism, bro, and this is going to help others learn. So like like thanks, like here's your Darwin Award, like Ian Bellina, like that's what you get, kind of shit. Like, I'm sorry, not sorry, like you should have known better, but like what are your thoughts on like people like this, completely going against the crypto mantra of not your keys, not your Bitcoin, and promoting and firsthand using centralized exchanges? Is there anything to this? Like, how do we get people like these software developers to stop using exchanges?
Man, that hurts. At the end of the day, the guy shouldn't, him and a lot of others shouldn't be using exchanges as their main form of like storing their bitcoins. It shouldn't be that way, but it's so convenient. I mean, when you buy Bitcoin on an exchange, it's so easy just to say, okay, I've got it. It's in my account. Yeah, I've got 2FA on. It's good. It's fine, and then leave it alone. I get it. I've had that. I haven't lost any. But the same idea is, yeah, exactly. But this last year, everything that I've gotten, I've made sure that I've pulled everything off and put it on like just a regular native wallet, like a desktop wallet, and then just store your private key someplace and just keep your backup seed safe, and you're fine. Like, you're good. Like, you don't have to worry about much of anything. Now, I don't know why so many people just refuse, especially when you have that much money. Like, I don't have that much money in Bitcoin, but that's, I mean, I couldn't sleep at night if I thought there was that much money sitting on an exchange that at any point could just disappear, because it happens, and people think it won't. Binance could disappear tomorrow. It's not likely, but it could.
Not just even as a company, they could disappear to U.S. citizens because of regulations imposed from the IRS or the SEC,
Yep.
or any other
Yep.
government entity that wants to eliminate your freedom to transact Bitcoin through that exchange. So Binance may not even be allowed to let you withdraw without going through
Exactly.
KYC. And once you do go through KYC and be found to be a U.S. citizen, then you're not allowed to access to your Bitcoin until you move to another country, get citizenship there, do another KYC, and then Binance can let you have your Bitcoin again.
Yeah, that seems easy. That seems convenient. Thanks, government, for protecting me from being able to make my own choices.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I get worried about things like with Gemini and their Gemini dollar and the abilities that stable coin has in the background that not too many people are aware of. And I'm just starting to get the time to really look into their ability to like freeze and actually do like not a double spend, a chargeback and things like that with their stable coin. It's weird.
Dude, there's some weird stuff out there. Just the other day, well, earlier today, I just went through the top 200 cryptocurrency, just real quick, just flipping through them, right, through that CMC, and I just looking, and I saw like, I mean, there's all kinds of projects that I've never even heard of. Like, have you heard of the Maker coin?
MakerDAO?
Yeah, it's like Maker. It controls the DIA for a stable coin.
Yeah, I think I've actually heard Omar Bam speak about that one a lot.
Oh, that's crazy. But the thing is, like, it's a weird one because it exists, and right now it's about 400 USD equivalent on one coin. But it destroys itself and creates itself in relation to keep that other token at one. And that's the whole reason it exists. And I don't know if I understood that completely correctly, but that was the explanation on CMC. And I looked at that and I was like, what a weird thing. Like it's able to decrease or increase its own value by changing its own circulation, I assume, to be able to keep another coin pegged at a certain price. And that blows my mind. I have no idea how that would work. I don't get it.
That
But all I know is if
is,
you can't buy that coin, I feel like I should buy it because, it sounds like it'll
yeah.
be good and fluctuating.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you have some sort of control on it, like some sort of central control on anything, I mean, like that's what I worry about with Ripple. A lot of people don't understand that they could just dump any amount of XRP into circulating supply that they wish at any price that they'd want. Um, that's scary. You should worry about that just a little bit, like a lot. And the fact that they have so many bank partnerships, but I have never heard one bank ever talk about XRP ETFs ever.
No, that's why they separated XRP from Ripple, man.
Yeah, good luck with all that, guys. I don't know, man, but again, when it comes to like what I've seen with the banking Swift code language and how it's centralized, that the U.S. actually owns it, and if you're another government and you're using banking technology, period, you're actually using our patent technology, and that's pretty crazy that everyone's okay with that all around the world. I could see why Putin and Gaddafi and all these people were pretty upset about the U.S. dollar not being pegged to oil or something like gold. Especially when you're forcing every other country to use the petrodollar to buy their oil, and then
by threat of force in reality.
It's insane.
Real force.
Oh yeah. I mean, how many military bases do we have now around the world? I don't even think we can count them. Like it is.
It blows my mind how people can say, and I just want to be forthright here. I'm really a libertarian, but there's obviously I'm okay with some taxation. But the problem is,
Optional taxation we choose to take.
Yeah, like definitely, I would be willing to pay 10% all the way. Just here's money.
Let me track the private keys. Let me see where the money went. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah, that exactly. Like, let me see. I don't want 80% of my money going off to some overseas intervention because we want to control a dictator to have better oil prices for whatever. I don't care. Bring everyone here. I voted for Obama the first time because he said he was going to bring the troops back, and I get that no one can, and I get that it was an empty promise, and I get that. But at the end of the day, we're spending so much money, so many lives, and people are like, well, we can have we can pay for our own health care and have free school and all this other stuff. Yeah, maybe, but the thing is, most of our money goes into military, and most of our military is used to protect other people's security, other sovereign countries. They should be the ones paying for their own stuff and fighting their own wars. And I don't mean to sound like isolationist at all, but at the same token, like, we shouldn't be the ones controlling their countries. I get that it made us a superpower, but also, what are we doing?
I think the ability of other countries being able to create their own cryptocurrencies, and I'm not saying like the Petro from Venezuela that was created, I believe, on the NEM blockchain. I think that was the one, or it was Stellar. I don't know. I think it was NEM. Anyway, I think that is going to be able, like I said, opt-in taxation. We're going to be able to choose charity, and we're going to be able to say, I want to buy, North Korea coin, and by 5% over market value. And that would basically be 5% charity, right? I'm trying to give 5% value to their circulating supply as a donation, but then I have a stake in the actual progress of their currency. And that's going to decentralize that, right? A lot of people also would argue that we have to protect the other countries' securities, because if they were to be regimed, then now we have a new problem to worry about. So we're solving problems before bigger problems occur that will cost more. So it's price, right? It's price adverse, risk reward. That's why we spend so much money on military now, so we save money on military later. And
I think it's profitable now is why we do it.
It is.
I get where you're coming from. Like, and I don't have any problem with military people at all. Like, I really don't. This is not me going off about the military. I just think that it's crazy that in our political space we have all these people, and I mean generally, if you turn on the TV, it's like, we're going to have taxation on the top 2% or something. We're going to increase it to 70% after 10 million or something. That's fine. It doesn't put a dent in it. It doesn't put it's not. That's a drop in the bucket. Like, you know, like,
the only taxation I believe in is Bitcoin transactions fees. That's my tax. That's it. That's the only tax I believe in. It's the only one that has taxation with representation behind it. It's the only true tax is transaction fee tax. TX is the real tax. And I think that moving forward, You know, the Federal Reserve is essentially the prehistoric version of a Bitcoin miner. So I could see them printing as much fiat as they want because they fucking can, then
Yeah, quantitative.
spending that shit on Bitcoin mining technology, and that would actually flood the market with purchasing of that technology, which would make it cheaper for them to buy until they're done, and then the market would crash in that, and they would have a shit ton of that, you know, and they would be mining with basically free money if they chose to. And then we would see the IRS move more into, which sucks and I don't believe in, whitelisted addresses, where, you
Uh-huh.
know, we'll have a whitelisted address that is KYC that we get paid from our employers in. So if you want to get paid in Bitcoin from your employer, the only legal way to do that would probably be through a whitelisted payment processor. So every payroll will be KYC'd Bitcoin transactions out, at least to that one address. Then they can't stop what you do from there. You could lose the private key, if someone stole your whatever. It's still gonna count as first in, first out transaction. You're gonna be taxed on it. And then they'll use Chainalysis to try to figure out if you use that Bitcoin the 15th time it was moved, to have something mailed from purse.io to your front door. And they'll be able to check all 15 wallets ever because you did one dumb thing at the end of the chain to have something. And it's going to change everything. I don't think people have the perspective to like really dig deeper into the Black Mirror-esque reality that we're really in. Like, we're so desensitized to it, but it is possible, and it makes way more sense if you think about it long term than the situation we're in right now with the way fiat currently works.
No, absolutely,
Or it
and I
doesn't
think
work.
that's one of the, or it doesn't work. Yeah, I think that one of the things with I think that you really just pointed out one of the reasons I think Mimblewimble has become trying to be implemented. Yeah, the whole like there's no real transactions. There's only the last one that's kept on the blockchain, and there's no like so that way if I buy your Bitcoin, and you had maybe done something more nefarious, or maybe the person before you had, then it won't track back to me.
Well, it happens all
And
the time. Coinbase is notorious for this. If you said, "Hey Ken, you owe
yeah,
me $100. Can you send me that $100 in Bitcoin? Here's my address." And you didn't say, "Hey Ken, this is my Coinbase address," and I decided to send you that Bitcoin from my gambling wallet because I just made some money. I was like, all right, fine, I owe you some money. Coinbase has that as a blacklisted address. The opposite guys have a whitelisted address. And then now the Coinbase has frozen your account because you broke their terms and services and your money is now gone. Or I could attack you. I could be somebody who knows your address and send you Bitcoin that I know is tainted from either the dark web or something to that nefarious extent. And now I could be a financial terrorist. Nobody talks about financial terrorism right now, but it happens. I could find your Bitcoin public address, send you some Bitcoin with notorious files encrypted on it, and then leak that to some entity somewhere like I'm a fucking Robin Hood of some sense, and now you have to prove your innocence.
that makes a lot of sense, and that I like that. That was a good fiery take. That was a good take. I like that. And you're right. You're
Wimble's
absolutely
important,
right.
man. It's important, but it also, like a lot of people say, it empowers the current bad actors that be of the banking institution and fiat cartels, and it's just going to make them even more powerful. But the paradigm is there's only 21 million Bitcoin.
Yep,
Period.
that's it.
That the
No,
paradigm.
it's supposed to be.
There's already 17 million Bitcoin in circulating supply, with 3 to 4 million Bitcoin lost, gone, or stolen. The paradigm has shifted already. If they choose to try to oversiege this renaissance, it's too late. That's why they're trying their best to fight the price of Bitcoin with ETFs and futures and peg it on the way down. And they're going to buy the ETFs up and then dump them with the futures market bet highly on the way down. So when they lose on the market on the front end, they're really gaining on the back end because they bet that that would happen higher. It's like, betting against your fighter when you know he's going to take a dive.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. So it's a mess. I saw someone make an argument for trying to inflate the total number of bitcoins, like once the all miner awards happened. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, no, no, like no, we can't do that.
And it
Uh,
won't. But that's why I don't think Bitcoin will be the only currency. People will always have the choice. I mean, we see people choose to use Doge just because it's fun.
okay,
And
I
if,
love Doge. Yeah,
if I had the
that community's
choice,
the best. That's
if,
the best community.
it is though. But if I had the choice to use, I don't know, Bolivar in the U.S., I would because it's cool as hell. It's like it'd be my choice of currency, right? Like I go around the corner stores and spend Bolivars instead of U.S. dollars, and some people are gonna go around and spend Doge instead of Bitcoin. That's always gonna be an option. A lot of people people say Bitcoin will be the only blockchain. I'm like, yeah, and Linux will only be the only operating system ever.
No, you're right. Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think Ubuntu is going to be the only one. There's only going to be one at the end.
So what are you doing
Right.
right now yourself, like in this market to, kind of survive the bear market and prepare for the potential bull run that may be underway?
All right, so I'm going to be 100% transparent with you, Ken. We're having a hard time. We launched Crypto Insider in September, on September 25th of this last year, and we're up to about 100,000 readers a month, which is great. We got some serious readership coming on for being such a new site.
Thanks for the
Um,
super chat, Bitcoin Ben.
yeah, Bitcoin vid, keep it up, man. I wish I could see the chat. How do I do that? Can I?
Oh man, it's if you wanted to go to youtube.com, it's actually in the video, so you can always go back and watch the video later and just read what
Okay,
everybody's
yeah.
saying.
I'll check it out.
We're
I'll reply
actually
if I have.
streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and bit.tube, all 5 platforms simultaneously, and everybody commenting in each individual comment on each different platform is being pushed into one chat on the live stream right now.
Oh, that's wild. That is absolutely wild. Okay, well, I'm glad you didn't tell me that explicitly before we started, because I would have been good and nervous. But no, so yeah, Crypto Insider is what we're doing a lot of. We funded this pretty much ourselves this whole way through, and now we're trying to monetize somewhat. Now, what we don't want to do is we don't want to be a scam website. We don't want to push projects that are bad. I wouldn't want to, write a shilly article and publish it and say that this is what it is. Go buy Dentacoin. Pick up as much as you can because it's going to moon soon. That kind of stuff. And that's really what we've done. If you look at Crypto Insider, all of our articles are as well thought out as they can be. They're as third parties they can be, and they do their best. Like, we try our very, very best to make sure that what we publish is correct and correct to the best of our ability. Now,
Man,
we
this
still get
industry,
flack.
that's hard, man. I mean, there's so much
Very
misinformation
hard.
pushed by the own communities of these currencies because they want to pump their own shit.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the problem. And one of the other problems is that people want garbage. If there's one thing that I've taken
Facts.
away from this whole project, this whole direction, the majority of people don't know it, but they want garbage. The free market wants trash. If I went out and I made a post or made an article and I said, Ripple's going to be $50 by the end of this year, and we're close, and I could just really shill the hell out of it and really pump it up and talk about how great it is and talk about how the banks are going to use it. It's going to cause us whatever. People would eat it up, and I would have 3-4 times the readers, and people wouldn't even read the article. They'll just open it. Okay, I'm going to share that to my Twitter. I'm going to share that to my Facebook. I'm going to share that to my LinkedIn. I'm going to share that to my Facebook.
It's clickbait on clickbait on clickbait. Yeah.
Yeah, and they want it, and they want that, and so that's one of the things.
That's the
There's no
shit
doubt in my
posting
mind.
mantra right now, man. It sucks. I feel you.
Yeah, no, they do this all the time, and CCN does it, and CoinDesk does it, and then their viewership is huge, like 6.5 million a month. Like that's the amount of people that read their stuff. Yeah, we are dwarfed because and plus you got DCG that owns what, CoinDesk, CoinMarketCap. They have some agreement
And
with
they
Stephen
have
Bray.
advertisers that they have to keep happy, so they can't talk
Yes.
about some of it. So if they accepted a sponsorship or an advertisement from a project to write an article, it may have been done unbiasedly and third party, yeah, CoinDesk, but now they can't write a redaction, a retraction or something that says, oh, look at this project we wrote an article about, but it turned out that they were a scam. Like, they never correct their previous sponsored articles ever because of that biasness. And that's why I try to support my best, independent media that really works more off of donation-based content than advertised content, because it is hard. It's really difficult. And then you said something that really kind of touched me earlier, that you don't want to talk about things that are scams, but that again is super difficult, because when CryptoKitties first came out as a concept, people were calling it a scam, and I was kind of with them. I was like, that's not going to work. No one's ever done this before, and what's a non-fungible? I mean, I can't have a fraction of it. Is that even a crypto? And then look at the success of selling one for $250,000 in New York City at an art show. I mean, it's hard to tell
Yeah,
it's going to be a scam or not.
No, Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, CryptoKitties is a very niche product that I don't think is going to really have a long-term benefit because it doesn't have a use. Like, it's a thing, it's worth money, okay,
It's
but at the end of
Pogs
the
on the
day,
blockchain is how
yeah,
I
it's
look at it.
Pogs, it's literal Beanie Babies. If I was selling pictures of Beanie Babies, that's what it is.
Yes.
And it's a cool project, and they really showed that you could do this thing. You could take a digital item and you could connect it to the blockchain. You can only have one owner, and that's really cool. That shows that you could do that. But as far as it being like a viable thing, is it going to be still around in
Do you
5 years?
think
I don't think people.
non-fungible tokens are something, future worthy? Do you think that's gonna be anything? Because I
I think it
have a
could
big love
maybe.
for NFTs, man.
I think it could be. I think it could be. And really, I want to see the crypto market. I want to see it involved in a video game. I want to be able to buy an item in World of Warcraft with actual money that I can. I guess gold is pretty much like that, World of Warcraft, kind
Right,
of.
but it's
But
centralized currencies and it's a
it's
digital, not a
centralized. Yeah,
crypto. They control it
exactly.
completely. It's censored
They
and
can delete it, add it,
you
make
know what
new.
though? Have you heard of Steam Monsters? They're a non-fungible token video game on the Steam blockchain where you
Steam
have
Monster.
this,
I've heard of it.
and then Gods Unchained. They're actually
Gods Unchained, the
they're
card game.
invested,
Yeah.
yeah, by Coinbase, and they're partnered with OpSkins. And then you have Wax.io, which is doing in-game content like skins for guns and helmet skins, or actually they have vIRL, vIRL.com, where you can actually buy a private key to a pair of Yeezy shoes, and then I could send you the private key, and then you could redeem the private key on their marketplace and get the Yeezy shoes sent to your house.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's
Fucking
pretty cool.
A.
That's pretty
So
cool.
imagine
I didn't
playing Fortnite and they have a tournament where whoever finds the treasure chest with a pair of Yeezy shoes in it gets the private key in their Fortnite wallet.
Yeah, no, see that's awesome. That kind of stuff is really cool, and I wish that it'd be so easy. There's got to be some laws against this, otherwise it'd already be done. Because if you're playing a video game and you get an item, I should be able to sell that to somebody. I should be able
Absolutely.
to sell that item to somebody, and right now I can't. I get a skin, well, it's mine. I bought it, and I can never sell
But
it, and that's
that's not
it.
how their business is designed. Here's why. Their business isn't designed for this model of transaction, right? They're used to having a central marketplace where the developer gets to control what the cost of his his work is, right? If you're selling art, you want to go to a gallery and say, this is what my art's worth. You don't want to say it's up for auction. If they only bid $1, that's all it's worth. Oh shit. So imagine being a Fortnite creator of these skins, and people play the game, they earn the skins, they don't care about it, they want to sell it, so they sell it for 20% less than what it's worth on the current market, dumping that value on the artist that created the asset. What I think is they're going to have to change that business model, just like Netflix changed their business model of what Blockbuster was doing originally, where that central marketplace concept will have to be dismembered, and they're going to have to figure out a way to step into a decentralized marketplace concept where these skins that are created, maybe the creator of the skins gets to hold 10% of the circulating supply, and some of them are burned or something like that to create the values. The hedge, like you said, like token burning to help stabilize market value is important in certain aspects, and I think that's one way that they would have to look at it if you're trying to create art and then have it sell in a decentralized marketplace. But it's really interesting to see what Wax is doing, and things like, again, we have Jizzy Mac. It's always weird to say your name. I don't know if I'm gonna get banned for it, Jizzy, but Engine Coin. I actually have a box mining
Mm,
collectible non-fungible token that he sent me, and there's only 100 of them that exist on the Engine blockchain, and it's just a collectible card like
that's
Pokemon.
neat.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. And it
Yeah,
actually
that's a
has
neat thing.
value. It's worth a couple dollars because it costs a certain amount of engine, I guess, to create. So I could melt it and get the engine or whatever, or I could sell it to you and you have it, and it trades on the market. And it's just a really cool concept. And even Wax.io, they sent me digital collectibles. I have like little stickers of me doing this, and they're on the Wax blockchain. So they're like a limited amount that, actually could gain value if people started to, transact.
Oh, dude, and that's the thing. Like, I really want to see something like that involved in a big way, where it's not like this niche product like Gods Unchained, even though that's a really cool thing and they're doing a great job. But at the end of the day, it's unlikely it's going to hit mainstream. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to do, even dApps in general. Like, just for the most part, installing MetaMask is hard for like the regular guy, regular girl, like whatever. They don't even hardly know what that is, and just throw them directly into, well, you got to get your Ethereum address and download this extension
Yeah.
for Chrome, and it's a lot. But if you were able to somehow create a system, like if I wanted to play a game, say I wanted to go play a game,
Okay.
and I'm grinding out a game, and I find an item, I want that item to be mine, and I want to be able to sell that item. And if I can't buy and sell the item, if I just go out and get it and then I just will turn off the game, there's no value created for the creator nor for me. The item's gone, and that's it. So I would really like to see a system where, like Phantasy Star Online or World of Warcraft or whatever, where you actually own your item and you can transact it or even give it to people. And World of Warcraft's real close.
Gods Unchained is doing it.
Gold system.
I mean, I downloaded the beta for this, but it's Windows only, which sucks. But they have Magic the Gathering. It's called Portal Magic the Gathering, and it's a digital card version of Magic, which is really cool, considering Brock Pierce just bought Mt. Gox, and Magic the Gathering is now like making these digital tokens that are cards. Dude, it's starting to get really deja vu-y, and I'm loving it. But I think that we're headed to that society. You're right, where that's going to be the way. But how do you combat people that don't value it at all and stuff? But that would be the same thing as giving somebody. But that would be like giving your friend Bitcoin and they lose their private address. It's gone, but it's stabilized the market at a store of value at one point because they can't sell it.
Yeah, and maybe there'd be some way to link that. What you don't even get to control your private key. Your private key is linked directly to your username, and you just hide the private key from everybody.
These are all whitelisted things, yeah.
Yeah, the people don't. That's the issue. The people at the end of the day, by majority, are just, and I hate to say this, are just not smart enough, or they just don't want to apply themselves enough. I mean, look at it. I mean, just
should we dumb down the technology though to cater to the people that are too dumb? Because I don't. If that was possible, would we even have manual cars? Would people be able to drive stick if everybody catered to dumb people?
Here's a question for you: how many people you think drive manual cars anymore?
Yeah, you're right. We got fucking Tesla.
I mean,
we don't even drive ourselves anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing. We literally, the most successful things are made for the dumbest people, and it's a problem. I mean, look at our news. It's down to like 30-second tidbits. Like they give you like headlines, and you're supposed to understand it. People think they do. They literally think that they understand what's going on until you get right below that surface. Like so and so, I heard this on the radio, and this is the thing that's happening. I can't believe this is happening. And they're actually upset. And then you talk to them, and you say, "Well, why are you upset? What is it about this that makes you upset?" And then they just have no idea. They're just like, "Well, I don't know," and it makes them more angry. Take that idea and realize that most people don't know what they're doing. Right. They go to work, they come home, they sleep, they eat, they go back to work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they just don't have the ability or the interest to doing anything else. And we need to have a system for someone to be able to use Bitcoin that doesn't make them so confused, and that also doesn't let them lose their private keys. Yeah. Like I don't know how to do that, but that needs to happen because otherwise it'll just be you and me.
There was a really interesting company that I've interviewed before called DigiPulse. I'm not 100% sure what happened with that, but their concept behind DigiPulse would be like it is a smart contract, encrypted smart contract means of storing your private key that if you don't interact with the public address by sending any Bitcoin out or signing a message with your private key, that this smart contract would take your private key, take that Bitcoin and send it to a chosen next Bitcoin address. So if you had one of two multi-sig Bitcoin wallet and your spouse or significant other were to have an accident, you can't sign anything because you needed two signatures out of two signatures. And if you waited 90 days or 100 days, then that money would just send right to a lawyer or somebody that could then take control of the assets to move them to one. And all these things are going to happen out of the necessity of the actual use. As more people find the need to do it because of censorship, because of regulations and things like that, then it'll happen. Like I think the more, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like the more these banks strong arm companies, like right now we're in a corporate America, right? Like the corporations run everything, but the banks think they do because they control the money. Wait until these companies start realizing that they can create their own money, like a lot of these companies have with ICOs and shit. Like the power of an STO with the dividend of a utility token takes away a lot of power these banks have against corporations. So like that's the real like war. We don't have to do shit. It's going to come down to where we choose to do business, and I think we're going to see more people choose to do business with Bitcoin companies, right? Like, I save a lot of money when I use Bitcoin rather than fiat when I buy on Purse or Bit Refill and do things. We just have to show them the incentive, right? Like I said, people are just lazy, but if you show them they can save 30% by figuring out one step, they might go through with it, because that could mean yeah, they might have more money now to get their kids' school clothes and stuff. Like, more people are worse off than not. So, like, that, I try to appeal to people in that sense. Like, Bitcoin's not going to make you rich. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a get-rich-quick tool. But what it is
I get rich.
you
But
might.
also, that's not the function.
But what you could do is, like, say you're an average Joe and you just need to figure out how do I use, what's Bitcoin for me, an average person that doesn't care about investing, and I don't have any problems with my bank. Well, do you buy anything on Amazon? Yeah, all right, you can save 30%. Go to, you know, whatever, Coinbase, buy your Bitcoin, send it to purse.io, and you save 30%. And you don't ever have to hold it, touch it, or anything like that. And that's one mainstream step. People, I think, push it onto people too hard about, like, holding it and using it and trading it and staking it and everything else. Like, what about just, you know, just showing them what business is
accepted? Purse.io. I'm looking at it now. This is pretty
30% every time you use Amazon.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This is wild. How does this even happen?
Okay, so I'll explain how this works, because, and I do have an affiliate link, but I'm not shilling it because I love this company.
Take it. Just send it to me directly, and I'll use it, because I mean, that's awesome.
This is the problem that Purse solves. If and this is, some of your employees may have this problem. I can't get paid in cash. I have to get paid in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's volatile, and my landlord doesn't accept Bitcoin. So this is what happens for people around the world, is they work for companies like Amazon or other companies that pay these people in third world countries in Amazon gift cards, because they can't send them money any other way. I mean, to send you a bank transfer for $200 in fiat for your work, it ain't
$60 to do that.
It's not gonna ever be worth it. So if you want to work for my company and live in another country and you want me to pay you, I'm not going to do a currency exchange through banking wire transfers. It's going to be too expensive. So I'm going to send you a gift card. Well, they have these gift cards. What do they do with them? They go into purse.io and they'll use the gift card to buy the item that you want at the discounted rate. So if you wanted a refrigerator, I'll buy the $200 refrigerator and give you the discount. And I'm basically taking a little bit of a cut. But if I live in a country and I'm making US dollar, the increase in US dollar value that I'm making as an employee, it's still worth it. You know, I'm making $200 a week, taking a 30% cut, and my average wage where I'm living is 10 cents USD. It's still lucrative. So there's a lot of first world roadblocks and barriers to the perspectives of the solutions that this technology actually provides. But if you're not really burdened by first world, really cool. You're good. Yeah, I do. I love it. And Bit Refill gives you 10% off if you use Dash. So I use that to buy Domino's, pay my phone bill, Uber, everything, dude. I get 10% off.
You've got this figured out. I like this.
I've been really all in for over a year and a half. So if I spend anything, I'm spending crypto. And everybody's like, you got to stop spending it. What if it goes up? And I'm like, well, if you don't spend it, it's definitely going down. You're an idiot.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Like, if you're not using it, then what's the purpose of having it? Like, these people
and you're not
like,
lending it. You're not lending it. You're not doing anything with it. What contribution are you making?
You're literally doing nothing for anybody. You're just holding money, thinking somebody else is going to.
Oh, and I'm letting Coinbase hold my money so they can fractionally reserve my Bitcoin. When Coinbase audit?
Well, it'll be a bad day, I'll tell you. I'm sure. I'm sure that'll be a bad time for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would love to see somebody come up with a decentralized means to track circulating supply to like the second to see if more than 21 million Bitcoin are accounted for on these exchanges. When you look at what they're holding and you look at what people are actually moving, because these exchanges are able to have Bitcoin in cold storage, but still move notes of Bitcoin around, like they're done with fiat in the past. So I want to see if Coinbase and all these other exchanges have the Bitcoin they should, or if they're selling Bitcoin to people that they don't have. So if if Coinbase only has to have 30% of all the Bitcoin that they say everybody holds, then if 27 million people buy one Bitcoin on Coinbase, then there's 27 million Bitcoin on Coinbase.
Doesn't take into account of the other places. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really good point, and it's scary. That's a scary thing. Scares the
shit out of me, man, because it defeats the purpose of the technology. But then we have people that are idolizing these companies and are like praising them, like, oh, dude, yeah, they listed BAT, they listed this, they listed that. I'm like,
oh god,
who cares what they list? Who cares? They have Bitcoin. That's all they
What's
had.
wrong with you?
They could have stopped right there.
You got Bitcoin, cool. You got Bitcoin. You can list Ethereum if you want to, or Litecoin. But then they just started going crazy. I mean, have you seen it lately? Like, it's just you could buy whatever garbage you want.
Credit cards, debit cards. I open my phone wherever. I open my phone and I see this in the corner. It says USD with a dollar symbol, and I'm like, is that a new like stable coin? I click on it. And I'm like, add your credit card. I went on Credit Karma. I have a 600 point credit score on Credit Karma. I'm about to go all in on Bitcoin through Binance and burn my FICO score to the ground. Like literally, I did not get asked by Netflix if I owed Blockbuster any money. So I have a really strong feeling that if in the future I need money and I'm asking for some Bitcoin, nobody's going to give a fuck about my fiat debts as long as my Bitcoin reputation is strong.
Yeah, they probably won't. That's actually a really good point. I'm not telling anyone out there they should do that, but also that seems like a pretty good idea.
I'm not telling them to do shit. I'm telling them what I'm doing. Don't do
as
as I do.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
You should never do as I do. Spectate.
That's it. I'm buying 27 million Bitcoin. That's it. I'm buying 27 million for myself.
Do it on Coinbase. It's like one of the only places you can buy.
I own all the Bitcoins. I'm owning them all, Ken. I'm owning all of them plus some. It's gonna be all mine.
Well, as long as you bet heavily in the futures market that it will crash, and you sell even at 10% under market value on the market if you purchased via OTC, you could write that one off, and then you claim hella profits on the other end on the CBOE. So I mean, dude, go for it. You have every incentive to do this right now.
Oh man. Hey, so off topic. Less aggressive. Have you heard about Bitcoin Hex yet?
No. Bitcoin Hex.
Yeah, Bitcoin Hex. So I'm glad I'm the first one. So it's Richard Hart.
Oh yeah, I do know about that a little bit. Yeah, I do know Richard Hart, and I've heard about it.
I like Richard Hart as a person. I like him because he's an asshole, and he's usually not completely wrong when he says stuff. Like those are the kind of people I like, that are aggressive and they stand up for whatever they think yes. At the time. But I like him. The problem though, I'm on the fence about it because it's Bitcoin Hex. Richard Hart's always been kind of a Bitcoin maximalist until recently when he decided he wanted to basically make a fork of Bitcoin on the ERC20, the Ethereum network. So he wanted Bitcoin Hex. Well, you can go on to Bitcoin Hex and you can say, there's going to be a snapshot of the Bitcoin blockchain at some point in the next handful of weeks. And you'll get one to 10,000 or 1 to 1,000. I think it's 1 to 10,000 Bitcoin Hex. So if you have 1 Bitcoin, you're going to get 10,000 Bitcoin Hex. What's weird is if you stake it and you early claim, then all the unclaimed Bitcoin go to you. Basically, like the less people that claim the Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin Hex you're going to get in relative amounts. Yeah, it gets real weird. So get this. Say you have 1 Bitcoin. I've got 1 Bitcoin, and Richard Hart he claims his Bitcoin. Let's just say he has 100, just because he probably has a good amount of Bitcoin. Just making a guess. Probably a good 100 anyway. That's lowballing. So he's got his Bitcoin. He staked it. He stakes it on the first day. You and I, we both stake it on the first day. Now there's 102 total Bitcoins being claimed. We get a founder's bonus. Like we get a percentage extra of everyone else's Bitcoin Hex that haven't been claimed yet. So that means Satoshi's wallet, any wallets that have lost coins, all of those are going to be given back out to people in Bitcoin Hex. Where it gets really interesting is that you also can stake the coin. And if you say you want to stake it for 2 years and you pull it out a year in or 6 days in or a year and a half in or even a year and 364 days in, you get penalized significantly and lose some of your principal, plus you lose all your interest. And so that way it incentivizes people not to sell it, not to use it, not to put it on the exchange, and not to dump it. It's also, there's no ICO. So it's a very weird thing. Like he's literally saying, in his words, I've got free money, come get this free money. And that's it, but it's so crazy because I want to call it a scam. And I'm tempted to claim my own Bitcoin Hex because it's like, why not? I put it in.
Well, how do we claim it? Because a lot of these companies or people that do this, they need you to put their private key in a specific wallet, and now I have to. I don't like doing any of that stuff. So
No,
do I just say,
no.
here's my public address and it gets, you know, scanned from there? Because I remember when Bitcoin Gold fork happened, they wanted you to store your Bitcoin on bitcoingold.org or whatever, and their wallet stole everybody's Bitcoin before the fork snapshot even occurred. So like I get worried
Oh.
about wondering like what wallet will support it and stuff like that.
Any
Like,
wallet that starts with a 1 in your address. Any
okay.
wallet that's so like Electronium would work. That's the one I pulled up. Electronium would work, and you sign your wallet or your address, and it you can do it in Electronium, but you can't do it in a lot of other wallets. I couldn't do it in Exodus, which is really I shouldn't use Exodus, but it's easy. So
I don't even like acknowledge forks. Like I don't use forks. I've
no,
started to like stop sweeping my private key to get forked coins to even dump for more Bitcoin, because the more times I expose these private keys, the more risk. And I'm just like, it's
you're just waiting.
I'm like sexually conserving my private keys right now so they don't catch anything.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. But that's an interesting project. But he's at arms with us right now because one of my editors had an interview with them, and they went back and forth, and they had some differing opinions on what was okay and what wasn't a scam, what was a scam, and they both argued. And then this guy, his name's Vlad Costea. He's a great writer, an incredibly passionate guy, very smart. He's almost finished his PhD in political science. Like he lives in Romania. Really cool dude. But him and Richard Hart did not see eye to eye at all. And then Vlad wrote an article basically calling out Richard Hart's Bitcoin hex as a scam. And it was not tongue in cheek. It was very aggressive. And I get a message from a series of messages from Richard Hart. He says he doesn't care, but I know he has to care at some level that we're calling him a scam.
Dude,
Like,
I would love to have him on the podcast. He follows me on Twitter. We've chatted every once in a while back and forth.
If you
It would be
ask him,
awesome.
he'll come on. He'll come on. He's
I've asked him before. Him and Mad Bitcoin are actually like the two people in this space that just never really ever get back to me. It's weird. Like he'll comment on feeds and threads and stuff, but Richard and Mad Bitcoin both have yet to ever like respond to me as far as asking him to come on. It's been weird.
That's strange. Yeah, but no, I don't think I have any pull or any. I couldn't help it. He deleted.
Come on, man. You're clearly friends. No, it's awesome. But like, so I actually thought of Bitcoin Wrapped when you were explaining this a little bit, and like, I don't know, it kind of came across my plate not too long ago. This Bitcoin Wrapped, where you have Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain.
Oh, the wrapped Bitcoin, yeah,
what
where every coin is backed by. Oh, yeah, I don't know, dude.
No.
This isn't okay. Why is this a thing?
This is like
why do you use Bitcoin? Yeah, I don't get it, dude.
No, we're decentralizing Bitcoin. That's what we're doing.
We're decentralizing it. We're taking all the Bitcoin and putting it in the same place, and that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna decentralize it by centralizing it, and then everybody gets some of it.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna. No, guys, we gotta stop like getting excited over this bullshit. Like, Bitcoin posers, like Bitcoin-esque things when it's not Bitcoin, no. Bitcoin hex or Bitcoin wrapped or what, Bitcoin futures, Bitcoin ETF. It's not Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin. And none of it's Bitcoin. And everyone's so excited for these non-Bitcoin things that come out that use the Bitcoin name because Bitcoin can't defend itself in the fucking court of law and sue people for fucking intellectual property theft and defamation of character. And that's what's happening with the CBOE using the Bitcoin futures. And that's what's going to happen with the SolidX and everybody with backed and ETFs is they're currency appropriating us right now. And there's no way for Bitcoin to defend itself. And people are praising the rape that's happening in this industry right now, and it sucks.
Yeah, Bitcoin.com, the home site for the original best Bitcoin Cash, Roger Ver, that's Bitcoin, right?
That lawsuit should have went through. I hate that they flooded that out.
I'm just poking the bear now, man. Like I'm just poking it.
No, I actually got kicked out of Consensus and got some flack for going to their booth right during that lawsuit. There was a current class action lawsuit for misleading investors by saying BCH Bitcoin address and BTC Bitcoin Core address, and people were mistaken that BCH was BTC Bitcoin and were sending funds to different addresses. Things were going askew. Investors were buying the wrong thing on exchanges. There were some that still said BCC was Bitcoin Cash and it was really BitConnect, and it was a clusterfuck that they should be held accountable for in a class action lawsuit. But the only reason it didn't go through is Roger had more money than everybody that he lost money for. That's it.
Yep. That's it. And so I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the one for me. That's the one that I like to go to. I also like Tron, but that's for a different reason. I like Tron.
Same here.
Yeah, I can't help it. So the thing is, Roger Ver is cool. He's cooler than Craig Wright and that other dude. Bitcoin Cash SV is an absolute dumpster fire. They have one wallet, I think, that works. Like I literally think that's all they have, like one wallet. They have a wallet, and it's not good. I have it installed because someone wanted to send me one BCH SV just to show me that it existed, and I have it, and it's not fun.
Do you feel dirty? Do
So
you feel like your private keys are like it's like a
well,
herpy?
okay. Get this, get this. So I'm hanging out on a podcast that I was on a handful, maybe a week ago, and these guys were talking about BCH, ABC, and SV, and yada yada yada. And I just went on. I was like, listen, I think that BCH SV people are just not really people. They're just blob people. If I ever met one, they're probably just like big gelatinous blobs of like organs and eyeballs, and they're just flobbing around and they don't know what they're doing. And one guy was like, I like BCH SV, and I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to send you some. You need to install their wallet. I kid you not, it took me 15, 20 minutes to figure out where the hell the wallet was to even install it. So I installed it, went through everything, and he sent me like $1 worth of BCHSV. And I was like, that's cool. And I was like, dude, you need to download. Do you have a Tron wallet? And he was like, yeah, whatever. So I sent him like $100 in Tron. And I was like, there you go. Like, this is how you do it. You don't send someone $1 worth of something. You send them an amount that they could spend and see how easy it is to use. Like,
Right.
Tron is amazing. It's quick. It's centralized. Yeah, and it's mostly all that money is going to be used to produce like an infrastructure in China. Sure, that's probably how it's going to go down. But it's so easy. You send it, and in like 5 seconds, the other guy gets it. There's never any congestion, and they have a whole side chain, and they have enough money to pay developers to make dApps.
They hired all the Ethereum and EOS developers that were basically laid off.
Exactly, and Justin Sun's the pump master. You think he's gonna get caught up in
That's
something?
one of the only reasons I love Tron is the marketing aspect. I don't care how great Ethereum is, their marketing sucks. They're never going to get any end users. And the reason every ICO is going down in value is because there's no end users. They didn't market to actual users, people to use the dApps. They've only marketed to investors to invest in the dApps, and these investors hold the token and never actually used it in the ecosystem that they invested in. Make that make sense to me, man. So like when I see Tron and these people that are making these ERC or not ERC, TR something tokens,
TRC toys,
whatever. It's so hard the linguistics right now, but I actually see them marketing very well these dApps. And Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet's going to start incorporating the browser aspect of Tron. And I don't know if you ever played Chibi Fighters, but Chibi Fighters is freaking awesome. I played on the Ethereum blockchain, and they're gonna have cross blockchain like atomic swappability. We're gonna be able to play Chibi Fighter versus TRX blockchain, or I could be on my Ethereum blockchain and things like that. It's gonna like this is where Xbox and PlayStation and Fortnite come into play, right? Like cross-compatible console gaming. And I think that I played Tron Flappy Bird. I haven't really done a video on it yet, but I should. I'm not bad at it. I'm not bad at Flappy Bird, unfortunately. So I can earn some Tron just by getting through the pipes.
Oh, dude, I need to figure out. So answer me this, because you seem like you're really involved, and I just haven't had the time to really sit down and do the things that I want to learn. The Tron. How do I take my Tron and use it to vote? Because I know it's a delegated.
There's a dApp that you can get, and that's why I'm excited for the Trust Wallet to have the browser. If you have Trust Wallet, or if you don't get it, you can interact with the Ethereum blockchain as a browser in a sense. Like you have Chrome and you have all those extensions. Picture that as the Ethereum browser Chrome, and all the extensions are dApps, and it's really convenient to go and use Ethereum decentralized applications like for messaging or for exchanges or for video games or for whatever. So when that happens with Tron on the Trust Wallet, and they have that access to that, you're going to be able to just open the browser and use that extension, that dApp that you choose to use. So it'll be pretty all in one spot. You're going to be able to have a wallet. That's your browser that gives you the access to the video game that you're playing, that gives you the access to the currency that you earned, that has the exchange in the browser as well to sell that currency that you just earned playing the game. It's an all-in-one ecosystem. That's why I really like the Trust Wallet.
Dude, all I gotta say is once this is over, I'm gonna hop on some kind of Tron dApp, and I'm gonna just kick everybody's ass. Because if it's some meaningless 2D game, I've got it.
Oh, dude, Chibi Fighters.
Everybody down.
All right, I've been trying to get them to send me the Brenna Sparks Chibi Fighter because they have a very sexy Chibi Fighter in the form of Brenna Sparks. And I just want to level her up to a complete dominatrix level on that game so bad.
So is this just like a... Like you just hit back and forth?
Well, you build it, you don't really, once you hit play, the battling is kind of predetermined. So the character that you send out is what you have to stack. You have certain weapons and armors and different like attire or skills that you can earn, and you can level up your attack and defenses, and it's just pretty much automated once you hit the play button. But the gaming aspect is actually stacking your character and making them more attack and more, higher speeds and bigger defenses and getting shields and bigger swords, stuff like that. So when you
And
do
it's on the
send it,
Ethereum network, yeah.
it is at the moment, and then I believe Tron as well now. So I'm excited for that gaming side of this whole currency thing where, like, I went to godsunchained.com and they price everything in Ethereum. There's no dollar signs, dude. None.
Oh yeah, no, there's none. I played something.
Respect.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, at some point we're gonna have to quit thinking on like terms of what it's valued in USD fiat. Like
that's why I think NFTs are important. People are gonna have these non-fungible tokens, and they're not gonna look at the dollar value. They're just gonna say, "Hey, I have a one sword is one sword." That's like the beginning mantras of one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. But once they have that. Right. Once they have that mantra and they understand that they own that sword, they own the private key, and that they can do what they wish with it in a decentralized marketplace, like sell it or trade it for other items. I mean, this is going to detach the dollar value that we associate to Bitcoin. When you're looking at one Bitcoin equaling $3,600, that will go away when you're looking at maybe some other underlying asset, like a security token for your hotel complex where you live, or your condominium complex, right? That's just, I could go on forever about where people are going to store their values instead of in other things. Like, I'll be able to invest. I live in an apartment complex. I'll be able to invest in this apartment complex by getting some of their security tokens and staking them for the utility token that they give me as a incentive to pay my rent in it.
that's really cool.
Stay woke,
That is
people.
really cool.
Get into crypto. Stop just holding it and do stuff with it, man. At least move it. Do something with it. Stop.
Do something with it.
Everybody just wants somebody else to make this moon, and I'm like, it's in your hands. It's not up to the institutional investors. It's really 100% up to the retail investors. The institutional investors are going to be manipulating this as much as possible. Lucky for us, the wealth supply has been pretty spread out before they actually got their attention on it. So it's in our hands, not the institution's hands. They have no incentive to pump the value of this currency when they don't own the majority of it. So stay woke. I guess we should wrap things up, man. I didn't realize we were just talking for an hour and a half. Time
wow,
flies,
I didn't realize.
Yo, let people know where they can find you on the internet, dude, and where they can find some of your content, and a little bit about the roadmap.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So you can find me on Twitter. My own personal Twitter is at @crypto_Blakely. I'm all over the place. I try to be more until recently, I've been more controlled, and so now I'm just saying what I want to say and talking to how I want to talk to people. I've gotten to that point where it's like, I know most of the people in the space at some level, so I don't feel like I'm going to get completely like blacklisted at any point. So it is what it is. But cryptoinsider.com is our website. We create all kinds of media and all kinds of news. The biggest thing right now for our roadmap is just securing funding. If we can just make this a cash flow neutral venture, that's all we want to do. We really don't. We really don't.
100,000 active readers, man. Reach out to companies like Steam Monsters and see if you can get a banner that has like a referral link on it. So when people see it, on your website, they're reading it. You could get a 5%, commission. Like, I have nothing against affiliates and referral links and things like that are contributing to the economy, man. There's so many of them out there. Like, they're like, Gods Unchained even actually has one. So like, you could have these companies advertise to your viewers, man. Like, this is what they need. They can't, a lot of people don't realize that you can't advertise your Steam Monster company on Facebook and Twitter because they don't allow it.
You can't, or on Google. Like,
so you have a really good position right now for those companies. You just like, it's hard to choose which ones, right? So what I would maybe recommend is maybe take a poll, right, with your viewers, the 100,000 people that are actually reading. Ask them, should we accept funding from this company for an advertisement? And if you get a majority vote, then hey guys, look, they said we can work with you.
That's not a bad idea. I don't hate that. The problem is people move so slow. And on top of all that, like we are at this point where we really need to get this funding thing figured out. Like we are really in some in deep. So we've got about 1 month to be able to secure, you know, 4 to 5, 6, 7 thousand dollars, and we got to figure out some way to like make that happen. And so we've created a whole platform, a plan where basically we're just accepting anybody that we can look at and say, is this a scam? If it's not, then we're going to look at it and figure out, can we advertise? And the answer to that is yes. Now, can they advertise? Do they have money? How much money do they have? If it's not much, we can make it work. Like legitimately, if you want to spend $50 for a banner ad, we'll give it to you. We'll put a fucking banner ad up, $50, and the next person says we'll pay 100. We'll put both of you in a queue. If somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I'd pay you $500 to $1,000 for a banner ad," you know, we'll put you in a queue and you'll be higher priority. Like that's the kind of method we're doing, so that way we can actually. It doesn't matter how much you charge as long as you're able to. Like if somebody has $25, yeah, we can do something for $25.
You know what else I would recommend? Sign up for bitbacker.io. It's sort of like a Patreon, but it's solely crypto based. So you could have Bitcoin, Smart Cash, Litecoin, nice. And it is a subscriptionary kind of thing. So you could actually say to your readers, please subscribe to our bitbacker.io for $5 a month in Bitcoin. Something to that effect. Cool. And maybe there's actually a way to kind of track those Bitcoin and public addresses that are sending you the $5 a month. So you may be actually able to send that Bitcoin public address a signed message back with exclusive content or links to things that, you know, they can only see on the blockchain by proving access to the public address. There's so much that you can do to gamify this. And this is kind of what I do, man. I advise a lot of projects in this space because I have some like weird twisted insight to the future use of this technology as an end user. I'm not a developer. I'm not an investor, but I am an enthusiastic end user that just wants something to work so I can utilize it, not to make money, but to make the quality of my life better. And that's how I kind of try to use, in my perspective on these, not how to make you more money, but how to make it better for your end user. And that is it. I can give you $5 a month. I can contribute to the thing that's giving me unbiased information. And if you got enough supporters, as a journalist, you would have 100% integrity because you have nobody paying you advertisements.
And that is the ideal thing. That is literally like I have we wrote just yesterday, we put together like a 17-page document to figure out how we're going to get ourselves out of this mess without selling ourselves out, right?
Bitbacker.io, dude. I'll donate $5 a month every month in Bitcoin. Just send me over your link.
All right, man, I'll do it. And dude, I really appreciate that because before you told me that this was a thing, I was literally building our own. Like I had already got our developer on board and was like, I need this done. I want a board and I want all this other stuff. Bitbacker.io, that's a lot easier and it doesn't cost me thousands of dollars.
And this is what I want to do is bring people together so not everything's done in-house. It just spreads a company so thin when everything's in-house. But I understand the concern for outsourcing right now with the legitimacy in the space. It's hard to find reputable third party, you know, to plug with, but we're not going to be able to build until we take those risks and trust falls and leaps of faith. And, you know, finding out something's a scam because it worked for you at the time and now it doesn't is just the cost of entry that we all have to pay right now. You know, like look at all the apps that were on the iOS App Store back when it first opened. I mean, somebody sold an app that said, I think it was $100,000 just for an icon widget. I mean, a lot of people got scammed, but that didn't stop the innovation moving forward. Just, you know, it has to happen. We have to have problems before we have solutions. So definitely 100% recommend Bitbacker. And shout out to John Moore. He actually just sent me some Litecoin on bitbacker.io just now. So thank you very much, man. And that's the thing is YouTube steals 30% of the donations I make from YouTube. So if you send me a dollar on YouTube Super Chat, I only get 70 cents to the dollar, and I have to wait like a month or more to even get that dollar. So it's not instant. It's totally sucks, but Bitbacker's changing the game, man. And you know, Patreon has actually shut people down by basically censoring them because they're, you know, say I had a Patreon account because my kid has, you know, cancer and I'm trying to buy him cannabis medicine because I don't have insurance. I'm going to lose my Patreon funding because it's against their terms of services, but I raised X amount of money before they did it, and now they locked and stole the money. And GoFundMe is no different. And I don't know, man. We got to start supporting the companies that support our best interests. So kill Patreon, use Bitbacker, guys.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I'll get that taken care of this week, dude. That's a really smart idea. Naomi Brockwell had a similar problem for months. I mean,
That's why she started using it, Bitbacker. That's what kind of caught my attention was Naomi Brockwell. She actually is one of the supporters of my channel on Bitbacker. She actually is a subscriber to the donation.
I really like Naomi. She is one of the people that I look at for in the news industry. That she just gets out there. She does great work. And I actually, when we first started Crypto Insider, I reached out to her and I wanted her to do our interviews because I saw
she's looking for work right now, man. So I 100% recommend you reach out to her. She is seeking active work in this industry today. She's just posted that she has kind of fallen under hard times because
it
of
happens
this
to all of us.
And she is looking for something. So I would say this is a perfect opportunity.
I think it's definitely something to look into. Yeah, then this is I'll reach back out to her. I've got her.
This is why I do this podcast, everybody, streaming with strangers, because shit happens when you talk. You know, there's no agenda here. I don't know what the fuck we were gonna talk about, and then we went on for an hour and 40 minutes just shooting.
Dude, we could do this thing till the sun comes up tomorrow if we really felt like it. That could, honest to God, I could do that. But you know, that's how much we have to talk about. Like I worried that when we got on, I was gonna like stutter, or that I wasn't gonna, you know, make good points, or that I was gonna bring up things that no one was interested in.
My curse is I talk enough for the both of me and my guests at times.
I like it. It works, man. It gives me some time to rest.
Well, again, I guess I won't try to intervene or segue. Let everybody know where to find you on social media one last time, and the multiple platforms that you are actually contributing with right now.
Yep, that sounds good. So if you want to look for me personally, I'm crypto_Blakely on Twitter. That's my most active one. You can search me out as Blakely Jones on Facebook. If you want to look up Crypto Insider, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and you can find us at cryptoinsider.com. That's just one word, cryptoinsider.com. And you can reach out to us in any form or any method if you're interested in advertising. If you have a project that's not a scam and it's something nice and it's something good and you want it to share with the world, I want to work with you. We'll figure out a price. We're trying to just stay open. Like, that's our thing. We're trying to stay open, and I would rather shut the doors down and just delete the whole website if I had to just start making money by lying to people. Right. So if you're out there and you're listening and you have a project, or you just want to talk about something, or if you just want to endorse us, or if you want to sponsor us in some way, $5, $2, 50 cents, $20, like, just reach out to us, because we're trying just to make things happen. And if you look at our website, you'll see that the most shilly article that I've ever published was on MGO. And that literally just said it existed, and it's going to be used for games. Like, that's, and
I did that ICO. I did that ICO. Yeah. I made 600% off that ICO. Yeah, I did that. Mobile Go token from Game Credits. Yep, that was my first ICO I ever actually got into. I did it publicly.
That was one of the only ones that, Was it good? Like them?
I was all right. I'm waiting for the use case, right? They had their developer ecosystems. They had developers. They said they had contracts with game designers, but I haven't seen anything come to fruition, and that is one of my biggest problems with every ICO. Nothing has come of any single one of them, unless you look at things like Tron, which have created their own blockchain from their ICO.
Tron's done a pretty good amount of stuff, and if you look at Hobei, something like that, anyway, it's a media center that's supposed to be able to decentralize media sharing in China. They've created the unit, and it's something that is supposed to be used, I think, in conjunction with BTT. I'm almost certain.
We're doing it. We're segueing. We're segueing.
Oh shit! Sorry. Look me up on Facebook, Twitter. Ken Bosek, you're an amazing dude. I appreciate everything we talked about tonight. Yeah. Sorry.
Guys, listen. Check out cryptoinsider.com. And keep your eye out for the bitbacker.io donation, because I implore you guys, $1 in crypto to keep journalistic integrity at our, at independent media, there. Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, and all these things are just CNN, Fox all over again, basically just taking advantage of our interest in this technology and using it to make a profit instead of make a difference. So cryptoinsider.com, check them out. Make sure you keep an eye out for a bitbacker.io address. Hey man, I appreciate you coming on. Have a day. Guys, pound the thumbs up button. Do it.